Morning, everybody, from Colorado Springs, Colorado. Here we are today. It's a glorious day here in Colorado Springs, and while we're here visiting Rock Dr. Sun, we're going to do something a little unusual today. So we're going to go to a spot that doesn't exist. So what do I mean by that? What doesn't exist? How are we going to go to a spot that doesn't exist?
Just go for a nice drive.
We're going to go for a nice, absolutely, we're going to go for a nice drive. And actually what we're going to be doing is right in the background behind us is Pikes Peak. We're actually going to be going on the other side of Pikes Peak up past Woodland Park, and we're going to be visiting the Geographical Center of Colorado. Now, keep in mind, that's a pure imaginary place based off of where the state lines are in Colorado. But Colorado is essentially a square state. So if you take the four corners and you make a big X across Colorado, then we're going to be going to where that cross is, at the Geographical Center of Colorado. And it just sits on the other side of Pikes Peak, just past the beautiful location of Woodland Park on Highway 24. So today we're going to be going just for a beautiful drive on a beautiful day here in Colorado Springs, and we're going to be finding as close as we possibly can to the Geographical Center of Colorado. So come on along for the ride. It's going to be a great adventure. Today our adventure takes us through the Front Range of Colorado on Highway 24. The Front Range runs north and south between Casper, Wyoming and Pueblo, Colorado. As you saw from the intro of this video, Pikes Peak forms a very prominent landmark that was visible for miles. Imagine seeing these mountains 150 years ago rising up in the distance as you and your family approach in a covered wagon being pulled by oxen going 2 miles an hour. Our journey today to the western side of Pikes Peak will only take us a few hours to complete. 150 years ago, it would have taken weeks and been quite dangerous. We have reached Woodland Park, Colorado. This 8,000 person community is surrounded by the 1 million acre Pike National Forest and was established in 1887. Initially, the town was called Manitou Park, but was changed to Woodland Park to reflect the surrounding forest. These forests provided Woodland Park with its first economic boom, with trees being harvested and produced into lumber and railroad ties by the town's 5 sawmills. This resource supplied Colorado Springs and other Colorado towns with the lumber to construct mines and railroads. As a result of all of this logging in the area, Pike National Forest was established in 1892 to help preserve the forests. During the early days of Woodland Park, prominent hotels were built in town to accommodate the influx of travelers, miners, and loggers. The Crest Hotel was the first hotel to be constructed in town in 1884. It had a parlor, kitchen, and a very large dining room on the first floor, with 15 rooms on the second floor. There were no indoor restrooms, only outhouses. In the late 1800s, the Midland Eating House was constructed to feed people riding through town on the Colorado Midland Railroad. When the train started adding dining cars along their route, the eating house was closed, moved, and remodeled to become the Midland Hotel. It was the only lodging open year-round and never had indoor plumbing. Unfortunately, all of these buildings were eventually torn down, but there is still a very historic feel to downtown Woodland Park. Up to and through Woodland Park, we have been driving on the Ute Pass Fault. It is roughly 65 million years old and dates to the time of the formation of the Rocky Mountains. An unexpected little surprise awaited us in the small community of Divide. Divide was the location of one of 3 summits on the old Colorado Midland Railway. The old train station still sits at its original location, but the tracks are missing. It appears much of the original railroad grade has been incorporated into the current Highway 24 that we are using today. According to the sign on the property, the Divide station is closed to the public as it is being converted to a museum. So, unfortunately, no views inside the station today. The Colorado Midland Railway was incorporated in 1883 and ran from Colorado Springs to Grand Junction, Colorado. Because it had very little level track, the Midland was a difficult railroad to operate. The ascent from Colorado Springs to Divide was severe, with several stretches of 4% grade and significant curves. Snow was another factor. Much of the railroad track was above 9,000 feet, making operation during the winter months incredibly difficult. The blizzard of 1899 closed the line for 77 days. The Colorado Midland Railway maintained operations until 1918. The tracks, mostly west of the station at Divide, were abandoned. The line was finally scrapped in the 1920s. And then we ran across this little pirate box near the old train station. Not sure what it is. If you know, please leave the answer in the comments. We would love to know as well. The rock on both sides of the road is the Pikes Peak granite. This stuff is about 1 billion years old. Man, I thought I was old. Florissant was established in 1870 and boasts a population of 128. It is home to Florissant Fossil Beds National Monument. Perhaps a spoiler alert for a future Rock Doctor video. Better to hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss it. But today we are seeking the Geographical Center of Colorado and just passing through Florissant. However, being a professional educator for over 30 years, I must stop at the historic Florissant Schoolhouse. Let's go take a look, shall we? Unfortunately, it looks like it's closed, but we'll take a short walk around while we're here. It just looks like an old school building, don't you think? And look, off to the right of the school is the old teacherage. The teacher worked in the school all day and lived about 50 feet from the front door of the school. Talk about never leaving work. Let's take a peek inside. It looks like it's been converted to a small museum. The main building housed the Florissant School from 1887 to 1960. Today the old school and the teacherage are on the National Register of Historic Places. The old school houses the Heritage Museum with displays covering the history of the area. On the way to the Geographical Center of Colorado, we passed through the town of Lake George. The lake at Lake George supplied ice to the Colorado Midland train in the 1800s. However, more recently, Lake George was the location of one of the largest forest fires in Colorado history. The Hayman fire began here in 2002 and grew to nearly 140,000 acres. The fire destroyed 600 structures, including 133 homes, and claimed the lives of 5 firefighters. Today, it ranks as the 4th largest fire in Colorado history, with all 3 of the larger fires occurring in 2020. Because of the history of fires in the area and the possibility of future fires, the Forest Service is very serious about fire mitigation. Slash is an accumulation of limbs, leaves, pine needles, and miscellaneous fuel left by natural processes and forest management activities such as thinning, pruning, and timber harvesting. Slash piles are created by gathering these materials into manageable, isolated piles. Slash can take up to 15 years to decompose naturally. However, these piles are often burned in a controlled setting to eliminate excess wildfire fuel. We're almost at our destination, but we must make a short stop at Wilkerson Pass Visitor Center. Behind the sign and to the right, you can see the western side of Pikes Peak. Most importantly, there are restrooms here. Wilkerson Pass, at an elevation of 9,507 feet, marks the eastern boundary of South Park, Colorado. No, not that South Park, although both of the creators of the animated series South Park are Colorado natives, and one of them growing up very close to here. The South Park we seek is a large grassland formed between the Mosquito and Park Mountain ranges, and the location of the elusive center of Colorado. Well, Rock Doctor daughter couldn't be on this trip with us to the Geographical Center of Colorado, but Rock Doctor's son here, he's always thinking of his sister. So at the visitor center here at Wilkerson Pass, he went in and he's going to show you what he bought for his sister. So if you'll turn around, oh, look at this. It's a cute little backpack for her to where she can open it up and she can actually wear this as she goes to work at the hospital. Everybody will love it at the hospital. And you're doing a great job, Rock Doctor son, of modeling the new little backpack for your sister. Yep. Okay, Rock Doctor wife, tell me what you're seeing on this little sign here.
This is all the history of this period where the The Native Americans went in and were all here before us from 8000 BC to 1890 AD.
Quite impressive. From the patio of the visitor center, we get our first glimpse of South Park off in the distance. And then this happened.
Rock Doctor, come here, you gotta see this. There's a bear out here.
Where? Where is the bear? Oh, good
There's
heavens.
a bear right there.
Okay, well, I don't think it's moving. It's not real scared. I think it's just it's a Rock Doctor bear.
I think it ate a little too much.
It's
It looks
just
stuffed.
I think it's just leaning up against a tree. It's really not doing too much out there. It's just kind of standing. Well, I guess as far as wildlife goes, this might be all we get to see today.
There's a short trail from the visitor center to a high point nearby. Let's stretch our legs a little bit, get some exercise, and take a look at the surrounding landscape. This being the mountains of Colorado, I know the view will not be disappointing. Could it be? I spot a little change of color on the trees. Growing up, we called these trees quakies, as their leaves appear to tremble or quake in the wind. They generally form groves of trees from a single root system. During fall, these groves turn an amazing shade of yellow gold. The limber pine is also known as the Rocky Mountain white pine. These trees have been documented to live over 2,000 years, with a limber pine at Alta, Utah called the Twister, confirmed to be at least 1,700 years old.
So, how was the hike, Rock Doctor wife?
Beautiful, definitely 2 thumbs up.
Did you see any wildlife besides that spectacular bear from earlier?
Yes, I saw
We saw a chipmunk and we saw
2 humans.
and a bear that wasn't moving.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's okay, but it's beautiful. The temperature is perfect.
Okay, enough sightseeing. Let's find the center of Colorado. Once we cross Wilkerson Pass, South Park opens up before us. It is the largest and southernmost of the 3 high-altitude grasslands in the Front Range of Colorado, the others being North Park and Middle Park. The valley is overlain by a thin layer of gravel laid down during the last ice age when the valley was covered by mountain glaciers. South Park is nearly 1,000 square miles and marks the location of Colorado's center. Like many areas of Colorado, South Park was inhabited by the Ute tribe before the arrival of the European settlers in the middle 19th century. However, the southern Arapaho tribe also utilized the area for its rich buffalo resources. It was explored by John C. Fremont during his expedition in 1844, at which time the park was referred to as Salty Valley. Everything changed in 1859 with the discovery of placer gold in the streams of the valley. During the Colorado Gold Rush, there was an influx of prospectors and miners, with towns of Fairplay and Tarryall being the center of gold and silver mining up through the middle of the 20th century. Right up this road and back a little bit should put us right on the spot, the center of Colorado. Okay, wouldn't you know it, the spot's on private property. Well, let's go back up the road to get as close as we can get.
All right, well, I hope you've enjoyed coming along for our little adventure today on a little drive coming up on Highway 24 through Woodland Park and through Florissant and Divide. What about that old train station at Divide? That was kind of an unexpected little find. What do you think about, I mean, I didn't even know that was actually coming up at Divide. I didn't know they were doing anything there.
Yeah, it should be finished up with a museum inside here pretty soon.
So that would be maybe a future Rock Doctor video. As soon as they get the museum all figured out at the Divide train station, we'll come back up and we'll film that. That'll be an interesting little spot. But we did make it as close as we possibly could to the geographical center of Colorado. So right behind us back over here, in the distance, you can see the little rock pinnacle sticking up. Just off to the left of that is where the geographical center of Colorado is located. Unfortunately, as you saw in the video, it is on private property and the road is for local residents only. So we did get as close as we possibly can and as we can get to the geographical center of Colorado, which is literally right behind the Rock Doctor and the Rock Doctor Sun. So for all intents and purposes, you are looking at the geographical center of Colorado. So we hope you've enjoyed our little adventure today. Thanks for coming along. And as always, don't take a trip.
Let the trip take you.
Awesome. We'll be seeing you on down the road. So there's nothing derogatory in there, right?
No.
Okay, I have to be careful.
A whole bunch of Yoda quotes.
That's good. So, wow, you're going to be in that video?
Good for you.
Rock Doctor Sun? Yes. All right, here we go.
So